Battlefield 2042. Rating the game is going to be difficult, but I'm probably going to give it a 1.5 out of 10. When it came out, and this isn't an understatement, but when it came out, it was a straight 0 out of 10. They've since fixed a little bit of bugs, and the game is now vaguely playable, so it gets a 1. And I'm putting the 0.5 on just because I'm a big fan of the Battlefield franchise. When I saw that first trailer for the game, I thought it was garbage, honestly. The reveal trailer. It was like DICE walking around being like, hello, fellow cool gamers. And they just did all the fan service stuff. But I guess people like fan service, and I guess it's proven that people fall for it. But I wasn't really hooked on the game until I saw the gameplay trailer, which blew my mind. Oh my gosh. Urban combat? We haven't seen this kind of urban combat since Battlefield 4 and 3. At this scale, all skyscrapers in the desert with a nice little stadium on the side too. It looked great. The game came out, and well, urban combat, 3 buildings. There. That's urban combat. Rest of the map, desert, small town with houses with exactly nothing inside them. And that stadium that was on the side is now one of the main things. But no, you don't actually go in the stadium. No, that would be too easy to do. The stadium would be nice to fight in if there was a reason to fight in it. Do you want to know the place where the objective is? The reception office. What about the urban combat? Well, all the fun stuff is out of the playable zone. The reason why I wanted to play the game is not even in the playable zone. Wow. 3 buildings. 3. And you can only go inside. 1. Literally 1. The other 2, they're just there for show. Well, at least there's that other map, that Korean map, right? Kaleidoscope, I think they call it. That looks urban. Even worse. What do you get? 3 buildings. Wow, that's great. One of the skyscrapers in the middle of fucking nowhere. The other 2, I mean, they'd be okay if there's a map to play them on. That is not a map. That's a field with a bunch of nice little skyscrapers in the background that you can't actually play on. That part in the trailer where you saw the tuk-tuk, drive through, and, the tornadoes behind it was getting sucked up. That'd be fun to play. If you could play it. It's not in the game. No. It's out of bounds, apparently. Well, at least there's that cool destruction, right? The sign fell and all that stuff. Destruction? What destruction? Battlefield 2042 doesn't know what destruction is, and they obviously haven't even tried to replicate literally any other title in the franchise, because this game has no destruction. There's 1, maybe 2 things that you can destroy. Glass doesn't even destroy when you hit it. Planes ram into skyscrapers. Skyscrapers are fine. Damage? None. That Kaleidoscope map is a field with nothing in it. You have the map we want to play. Just let us use it. 7 maps. Okay, at least they're big, said everybody before the game came out. It would make sense if there was actual things on the map, which would warrant the small map count. But there's nothing on the maps. Empty houses, deserts, no cover, maybe 2 objective areas that are actually fun. In the entire game, the map that the beta had, Orbital, nobody liked. It was the one thing everybody agreed that they disliked. But hey, what about the other ones? They look pretty good, right? The one in the beta is the best one in the game. Hot garbage. Dog shit. Everything that you expect to be in a Battlefield game. You know what? Scratch that. When you think of Battlefield 2042, just think of not having things that would normally be in the game. Server browser? Fuck it. Why not? Scoreboard? Nah. In fact, you have to go through 3 open menus just to find the list of players. Half a year ago, you released a game that had a scoreboard that told you all the players in the game, their kills, their deaths, their ping, everything. Now, you get a list of players. That is impossible to access. At least at the end of the round, they tell you what you have. Nope. They tell you how many kills you got and assists, so it's not even accurate because people get assists out the wazoo. They're fucking easy. And then it tells you some random stat that has nothing to do with your actual skill. If I want to play Overwatch, I'd play Overwatch. If I want to play Apex, I'll just boot up Apex. If I wanted to play Call of Duty Ground War, I'd play Call of Duty Ground War. But when I play Battlefield, I want to play Battlefield, not a sad ripoff of better versions of the same game. They canceled Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 for this game. They gave it an extra 6 months in the oven. They removed the campaign to make the multiplayer experience that much better. Did it make up for it? Of course it didn't. They removed the thing that 50% of people usually buy the game for and replaced it with Battlefield Portal. And in concept, it sounded good. And it still sounds good in concept. It's basically like custom games or like bare bone mods, but in the actual game that anybody can use. It's a neat concept, but why would I play it? If I wanted to play Battlefield 3, I wouldn't play a worse version of the game. I would play Battlefield 3. Just boot up the Xbox 360. I would play Battlefield 3. In fact, I would choose Battlefield 3 any day of my life over Battlefield 2042, ever. Battlefield Bad Company 2 has some of, if not the best sound design I've ever heard in a video game. But now, what do you get? 2042 sound effects, aka some of the worst in the franchise. Half the game that you paid for, it's just copied and pasted from, 3 Battlefield games? But only half of the games, not the entire game, with shaders that warrants the extra $30. In fact, the price tag for last gen versions of the game, $60. Okay. Next gen, $70. Why? Well, because there's a doubled player count and larger maps, which would make sense. But then PC, $60 for both versions of the game. Why? Because I don't know. Console people, they need more money to give us. Well, Battlefield 5 had bad maps. Battlefield 5 had a bad launch. What's the actual gameplay like? Well, the actual gameplay is a complete, utter broken mess that nobody on Earth wants to play, and that's why this game currently has lower player numbers than Battlefield 1. 2042 is fumbling around trying to figure out a way to make their game actually good, and completely missing the point of what made Battlefield actually good to begin with. You know, people shoot their guns to like hit targets and stuff, right? And that's what you do with a gun. Well, not in Battlefield. The blue mechanic, the one thing that people don't like in most every old Battlefield game, or just old game in general. Oh yeah, baby, it's back. And you can't hit jack up. And the one gun that actually shoots straight, they nerfed. Why? I don't know. You, I guess. The only thing they should have done was buff every other gun to be as good as that, if not better. To their credit, they fixed it. But they delayed the game 6 months. They started production like 2 years early. That should have been the first thing completed when making the game. I feel like the game was so bad that halfway through they're like, oh crap, we need to add something to the table so this isn't the most bare bones terrible experience we've ever seen. So let's just tack on, what? Hazard Zone? Hazard Zone. So think of Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown and all those other quote unquote extraction royales. Take what makes them good and just completely fuck it over. Because this is the most tacked on terrible experience that nobody plays. In fact, I think I'm 100% sure that on console there's not one server. In fact, I haven't gotten even to play this game mode, Hazard Zone, 2 days after launch. Nobody likes it. In fact, I haven't even tried to play it again because it's that worthless. Then they're like, oh crap, I don't think Hazard Zone's enough, so let's throw Portal in, which there's good effort into there. And there was effort. In fact, more effort than the main base f***ing game. Oh, at least the future setting's pretty cool, right? No. You get the same boring guns that you see at every other game. But, it has like a glowy thing on the side. It's gotta be future, right? And give it a futuristic name. Like the AK-24, yeah? Wow. That's future right there. Still using the same tanks, still using the same stuff. The only stuff that is futuristic is like the Surette pistol, which makes logically no sense, but it's a game. Speaking of the Surette pistol, classes, or the lack thereof. Classes, oh man, the classic genre-defying thing that makes Battlefield. I've never heard of it, because it's gone now. What do we get? Specialists? Dude, specialists.
We have a job to do. Squad is ready for deployment. Reporting for duty.
specialists. If I wanted to play Overwatch, I'd play Overwatch. And if I wanted to play Apex, I would boot that sucker up. But when I play Battlefield, I want to play Battlefield and not the sad ripoff of it. Hero shooter combat in Battlefield. If you can even call it that. The only reason why they put it in there is to make money. Because you can have very personalized characteristic skins that go with each certain specialist, which they have done in other games like Apex and stuff. Except, I think DICE has realized this game is so bad that there's no point in even trying to get people to buy skins in the game because there's nothing in the store to buy. They haven't even updated it because no one wants to buy stuff in this store. No one wants to play your game, DICE. I get it. It had some good trailers, even though the first one was utter dog shit, but people just fell for the fan service like they always do. And then, what do we have now? A broken husk of a game. Battlefield is dead. That's the thesis of the video. Battlefield's dead. It's not gonna come back. I'm gonna, get my crystal ball. I'm gonna foretell the future here. It's not coming back. It's gone. I've been with Battlefield for a while now. I've played the good, I've played the bad, but it's over. The game's done. Call me crazy, but this is a launch worse than Anthem. You see, I was going to give Battlefield 2042 a 1.5 out of 10 until I realized there's no game to play. Because who in their right mind would consider this a game? The entire point of a game is to have some form of experience in which you could follow rules and whatnot. And to, it's basically to have fun. That's the definition of a game. Having fun with a certain set of rules to make an experience. If you call that experience utter, broken, glitchy trash, yeah, I guess it's a game, but who calls a game that? Because fun? I don't see any fun. The only thing I see is misery. The game's broken, guys. Call it quits here. Say sorry. In fact, they haven't said sorry. They're pretending like the game's perfect. They're trying to give us little tidbits of lore and stuff on Twitter. Lore? What lore? Your lore. It's supposed to be a dark, sad world. Set place in a dystopian future where somehow the cities that are a war zone are still perfectly and entirely intact, creating the most unimmersive experience, especially after the specialist voice lines at the end.
I am not overconfident. I'm just better than everyone else.
That's it? I'm ready for round 2.
That was something, right? Don't be sad. This is just how it works out sometimes.
Did I go too far?
Oh my gosh, specialists, am I right? DICE, you failed. You set records. Some good, some bad. When it started, the most studios in the world working on one game. You broke a record, and you failed. What were you doing for those 3 years? For that extra 6 months that you delayed the game for? Because I don't see any progress done. Your game was supposed to be in the oven for an extra 4 years, minimum. And now we're playing something that's
Roll! Shit! Fucking shit!
Some people like stuff medium rare. This isn't even medium rare. This is a straight dead cow. It's not even f***ing cooked at all. DICE. After Battlefield 5, in fact, I don't think Battlefield 5 is a bad game. I think it's okay. When it came out, yeah, it was like 3 out of 10. At least it was a game and it was playable. And it had some good aspects like gunplay, graphics. Some of the campaign was actually pretty good, not gonna lie. And the only thing they did was make the game better. And they did as fast as they could, but the game was already dead by the time they got there. But I had trust in them. The maps the game launched with was really, really bad. But all the maps afterwards, in my opinion, are some of the best in the series. Mercury is a perfect balance between vehicle, infantry, and airborne gameplay. And it perfectly combines all aspects of the game into one map, where you could use a sniper or an SMG and do well with both of them in the same map, instead of it being just a sniper fest or just a meat grinder. Marita is another great map. Iwo Jima, modern day classic. The gunplay, amazing. Graphics, phenomenal. Battlefield 2042 can only be an improvement from there on. They're going to take the game they made in Battlefield 5 and take the next step. But I don't know what they were trying to do, but these graphics are worse than Battlefield 3. A game that's almost a decade old has better graphics than this new quote-unquote next-gen release. It's a good one, guys. It's a good one. I honestly didn't care if you copied and pasted the gameplay from Battlefield 5 into Battlefield 2042 because the gameplay in Battlefield 5 is phenomenal. The movement, exquisite, great movement, holy crap. And that game isn't even the best in the franchise. In fact, it's near the bottom tier of the franchise. But it's still better than this absolute steaming turd of a game that you gave to us. I think it needs the cyberpunk treatment, and it just needs to be taken out of the store until there's an actual game to play, because there is no game. Battlefield 2042 is not a game. It's a waste of time. When you think of hovercrafts, you might think of, like, I don't know, one of those things that you take a tour in the Everglades over a thin swamp, right? It's a boat. Not in 2042, because somehow hovercrafts are the most overpowered thing I've ever seen in my life. They can drive in the desert. They can go on side of skyscrapers. What on earth were they thinking? It's a f***ing boat! Might as well have planes that are better than tanks that can drive in the ground and stick to the side of walls. Yeah, sounds good, right? Well, at least there's destruction, you know, the trademark Battlefield destruction. I guess it's another freaking legacy feature because 404, destruction not found. What? Tornado? Does jack shit? Wow, look at that. A rocket ship went off. Changes the entire dynamic of the map, doesn't it? Yeah, wow. My gosh, I would consider it false advertisement. When I listen to the trailer, I hear sound effects that aren't in the game that they added in. If you're gonna add sound effects to the trailer that are good, add them to the actual game too, and you might have a slightly better experience. Because what I hear there are like war cries. People are like, they're coming. Like in Battlefield 1, which has some of the best voice lines I've ever heard in the game. In fact, Battlefield is famous for amazing voice lines. Oh my gosh, even all the way back to Battlefield 3.
Come on, Bugs Bunny, hop the fuck on.
Man, I felt that one in my left nut.
Iconic. What do we get now?
Oh, I'm ready. Oh, I climbed Everest. It's been all downhill from there. You get it?
Listen, if you're gonna buy a game, this isn't it. This should be a lesson of why not to pre-order something, no matter how good it looks. Because honestly, they should be sued for false advertisement. Because the game they advertise is not the game I'm playing. In fact, I think that's a completely different game. Wow, urban combat? Well, there's your urban combat. 2 buildings in the middle of the fucking desert that there's basically no point to go to. You know in Battlefield there's always those random points in a map that are just so far off that nobody really cares to go get it. Yeah, imagine that, but that's actually the part you want to play, but nobody goes there because, well, there's no point in going there because it's not the thing that you want to play. Instead, what do you get? Points in the middle of Timbuktu 2. Objective points that are in the desert. You rendered and built a city. Let me play in it. I wish I had hope that they'll fix this game, but there is no hope. They're already going to drop the game. These weekly missions are dog shit. Season pass? They haven't even announced the date. In fact, the rumors say March. The game will be in its grave by March. I feel bad for those people who bought that battle pass because it ain't coming out, I'm sorry. Also, if you pay for the super awesome, amazing, super deluxe edition, you can get a digital version of the soundtrack. If you can call it a soundtrack, I call it a jumbled collection of ambient noises and ear rape sound effects of metal scraping against itself. Listen!
It feels like the game is literally breaking as you listen to the song.
Well, it actually scared me the first time. I was like, what the fuck is that noise? It sounds terrible. It's some awful imbecile that should not have a job.
If this game was satire, it would be fucking hilarious. Think of everything you like and just expect it not to be in the game, and you won't be disappointed. Oh wait, I used the term game. Sorry, I wouldn't even consider it a game. It's just a 0 out of 10. Maybe a 0.5 if I'm feeling generous one day. Alright, so that was my rant on Battlefield 2042. I do not recommend it. This video should be virtual proof of not to pre-order games, not to play games unless you know it's an actual game, and not to waste your time. And I hope I didn't waste your time. I'm sorry for this really random video. For the 11 subscribers I have, that most of you are probably the people I know in real life, and there's probably like one of you that actually watch me. But if you are watching, thanks for watching this far. Thanks. And I kind of want to branch my content out to talk about all kinds of media like film and stuff, and I'm working on an hour-long video essay, and this video is kind of just here to fill up some space to keep you guys, I don't know, entertained. You know, for the 1 or 2 people actually watching. If you're watching this, thanks. Bye.